कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं Hari Om. So without much ado, I will directly start reading Damleji's experience. We will begin with the experience. So I think we will have to go back in time to 1982. Yes, so 1982 and 83, around that period. All right, so let us begin. Damleji said, this story is from when I was in Pune in 1982-83. I got an opportunity to make an advertisement of the Ayurvedic medicinal bath powder, Herbo Mineral, during the auspicious time of Navratri at the Chatusshringi temple, a very famous and sacred temple dedicated to the goddess of Pune, Ambareshwari Devi or Devi Chatusshringi. Every year during this period, there is a big mela and thousands of devotees throng to this temple to get a darshana of the Devi. In the early 80s, the entire place was quite vacant and lots of space would be there for people to gather and also to arrange their stalls. I too had acquired a stall for my Ayurvedic product. It was quite a big one and I didn't really have much of an option as there were no small stalls available at that time. I didn't need too much space to keep my 10-20 odd packets of Herbo Mineral on the table and share the results and testimonials of various persons who had used the product, which I had got cyclostyle copies. Cyclostyling was the only method in vogue back then for making copies, as the modern instant photocopying machine had not yet entered the market. Anybody here has used a cyclostyle? Anyone? Or have come across it? Arvindji, yes, if you want to unmute, you can just share something about that.
Yes. You have to cut the stencil with the matter you want to make the copies of, and then you have to go through that process of what they call it, that substance, black powder, what they, and then that copy used to come out. So when you were unable to make corrections once the stencil was cut. So whatever you have to do, you have to ensure the correctness before cutting the stencil.
Okay. All right, sir. So that is the cyclostyle. My generation has not seen a cyclostyle at all. So we are all having these instant photocopying machines. So anyway, let us go back. Cyclostyling was the only method in vogue back then for making copies, as the modern instant photocopying machines had not yet entered the market. Whenever a doctor or an interested consumer would come, I would share the copies after detailing about the product. I have been very fortunate to have good friends. Interestingly, in this story too, a friend of mine, whose name is also Bhaskar, played a very important role. Bhaskar Mendke was based in Pune and was a well-wisher who was quite impressed with Herbo Mineral, so much so that he would also take time out after his daily job to sell Herbo Mineral. When I told him I had booked a stall at Chatusshringi, he said he would come whenever his work permitted him to. But he promised he will come on the most important and auspicious day of Ashtami. On the first day, there was a tradition of offering mala made of coconuts to the Devi. Some offered malas of 21 coconuts, while some offered malas of 11. This was considered to be very auspicious, and even the folks from the big banks would line up to get a chance to offer their mala to the Devi. The sanctum of the temple was very small, and the number of malas were far too many. So the temple administration decided that only 3 malas would be accepted, and the names of the organizations of the offerers would be displayed on the advertisement board inside. As I had come quite early and set up my stall and didn't have anything else to do, I slept overnight at the stall, got up early, took bath in the tap nearby, and climbed up the steps to the sanctum with my mala for the Devi. The administrator spoke to me in a rather apologetic tone. We haven't opened the gates of the sanctum yet. You have come early, and the pujari too will come afterwards only. But I said to him rather firmly, I have come first to offer to the Devi, so my mala should be first. All of you have to remember and ensure this. He somehow said okay and was true to his words. Around 40 minutes later, the pujari came, and after completing his puja, he took my mala into the sanctum and placed it at the feet of the Devi, and then asked me, Have you bought the banner? I nodded and showed him what I had with me. I had a hand painted the banner on a poster and written a simple description, Herbo Mineral, an Ayurvedic bath powder. I told him to hang it as per his convenience. He asked me, What information will people get from this? I replied, You don't worry, I will be sitting in the stall to explain to people what it is. And my answer was sufficient to him. And when I saw my mala placed at the feet of the Devi and my banner in the premises, I felt overwhelmed with gratitude to her. Soon, the eve of Ashtami arrived, and Bhaskar arrived as promised, only a little earlier. On the preceding night, he asked me, So, are you going to sleep at the stall only? I replied, Yes, we have to be here at Ashtami. So, we will have to get ready early in the morning. He also agreed, and both of us slept at the stall after closing the stall at 9 p.m. We got up very early in the morning, took a bath in the tap, and climbed up the stairs to get a darshan of the Devi. While climbing up, I told him, आज भी जाना है और अष्टमी का प्रसाद मिलना चाहिए. And we had a beautiful darshan of the Devi in the temple. The sun had not yet arisen, and it was still a little dark, the latter part of the Brahma Muhurta. The administration had newly created a staircase for the devotees with a handrest along with railings for the elderly devotees. And so after the darshana, both Bhaskar and I were silent, and we descended the stairs, which were quite steep, without speaking a word to each other, consciously absorbing and experiencing the divine moment in our own distinct ways. I may have descended halfway and suddenly started feeling different. I began to experience a feeling of lightness in my body and felt I was losing my control over the awareness to my surroundings, as if my viveka, discriminative intelligence, was getting clouded. From the beginning, being ever vigilant and aware was the base of my sadhana. But now I was unable to understand what was happening. I turned left and right as I felt I cannot afford becoming unaware. Bhaskar was a few steps ahead of me, and I looked towards him. He was startled and looking at me. I heard him say, Madhu, your legs, they are moving in a weird manner. Each leg is moving so high. Careful, you might fall. I could see and hear him, but he seemed to be somehow at a distance and far away. And after his words, I looked at myself and saw my feet, and in each step I was lifting them very high, and my hands too were outstretched, not holding on to any support. And this was all too much. I screamed out aloud, Nahi, no, nako ahe, I don't want it. And suddenly, that strange feeling disappeared, and I was fully conscious again. Menke, who was also a friend from the spiritual line, told me, Avi, the Devi had entered inside you. I was watching. Your facial expressions changed. You were definitely not levitating, but your feet, they were moving unsteadily, but you never lost balance either. I don't think you must have done these stunts in your gymnastic days too. And I was feeling very delighted to watch it. And suddenly, why did you speak like this? You are a mad person. You shouldn't do like this. The Devi was entering in you? I replied, no, I don't want this experience. I am walking on the path of integral yoga. This is something I wish to transcend. That's why I said I can't do this. He didn't find any sense in what I was saying and continued rowing for some more time that I missed the opportunity and left. I knew I had listened to my inner voice and was confident that what I had done was right. But he anyway came in the evening again. During the evenings, the police personnel would be deployed to control the crowds. And in my herbal stall, which was quite spacious, they found the perfect place to change into their uniforms before duty every day. When their shift ended, they would again come and change into their civilian clothes. And as I welcomed them, I became very good friends with senior and junior officers alike during Navratri. I was sitting at the stall as usual, and in the evening, around 7 to 8 p.m., they came again. Only this time, the inspector called out to me, "Oh, Damle, come out." While I did consider them my friends, I found their tone to be quite annoying. Even a couple of folks whom I had trained to sit and watch over the stall when I was away were staring at me. So I asked, "Why are you calling me this way, sir? What happened?" The inspector said aloud, "Don't speak a word. To me, yeah. You come with me." I looked at the inspector and the two sub-inspectors and the two constables accompanying them and told myself I haven't done anything wrong and accompanied them. After walking a few steps, the inspector spoke to me. "Don't speak about this. Today you are going to get Mahaprasad. I got a strong feeling on the inside that you are most deserving and you should get it." I replied, "You are all walking on either side of me. What will people say?" The young inspector, who was around my age, quickly quipped, "You also must be another police officer. That is all they will say," which made me smile. As we walked up, he didn't take me to the sanctum of the Devi. Instead, he took me through the route that the pujaris would go. In fact, I didn't even know this route existed. And from there he gave me a call. From there he gave a call to the Pandit. "Bring it here." The Pandit came with a burning coconut in a thali and said to Inspector, "Here, sir." The inspector said, "Give it to Sahib." And I received it with respect and asked the Pandit, "What should I do with this?" He said, "Let it cool for some time and take it and wrap it in a banana leaf and take it home and hang it from the ceiling. Devi's blessings will be with you always." After receiving his words and the sacred blessing, I turned to the inspector. "Sir, why? Why did you give this to me suddenly?" He replied, "I just felt like it. I have been observing you, and you are our friend. I felt you are the right person. Many wealthy industrialists and also spiritual seekers pine for receiving it, but I felt you are the right person." I took the wrapped coconut in a cloth bag and with full Shraddha hung it in my home. The roof was made of tiles, and so I easily found a nice place to hang it from. When some folks would come home and ask, "What is this? You believe in superstitions?" I would reply, "Everything from God is welcome for me." There is no need for reconciliation or conflict of mind when one realizes that all is one. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahmasi. This is the base from which one has to move forward. There is no divide in my mind even today. We cannot forget our foundation. And the second experience, which is similar, or we will have a discussion on it afterwards, which is in Pondicherry, in the Sri Aurobindo Ashram. I will start the second one also now. From 1982, I had begun reading and trying to understand the teachings of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. I had resigned from my job as executive and joined Gokhleji and started living and staying with him. In 1985, he sent me to Pondicherry. He must have thought his child is now ready. He told me, तुम्ही जाऊन या, तुम्हाला bonus. You, you go and come. This is your bonus. I replied, okay, and came to Pondicherry, as if I was going to a pilgrimage. Gokhleji had told me the way and also told me to go to the reception first and then begin. Aware, I went to the reception and met a sadhak, Gajraj. He began writing down the places where I should visit and see on a paper. I expressed that I was not feeling very happy seeing this. And when he asked me why, I told him, I have come at the lotus feet of the mother. I am not a visitor and don't want a program arranged like that. He remarked, oh wow, that is very nice. In that case, leave this aside. And he gave me a different set of suggestions and recommended that I go attend the lecture of MP Panditji in the evening talks on Savitri. They suggested that I go and stay at the guest house and have food after getting the pass. My itinerary was now fixed, and the very same day, in the afternoon, I entered the ashram. I had not seen the samadhi itself in the morning, as I had been chased away to the guest house. I had directly come to the ashram in rickshaw, and so after getting fresh, I came to the samadhi afterwards only. I was confident and with firm shraddha, and I was also aware that it is possible to directly receive from the atmosphere if one is conscious. The volunteers offering service at the ashram said not to speak a word by action, and I complied. I placed my head on the samadhi, and after placing my head, I aspired for meeting the mother, getting some advice, some clear advice in my thoughts. I am unable to perfectly put in words my thoughts and aspirations. I have had the experience of an elevation or rising in consciousness during meditation before, but when I placed my head on the samadhi, I felt that I was descending and going deep inside the bhumi, into the ground. I was relishing the experience. That was pure bliss. I couldn't understand to what depth I was going or why I was going downwards, but there was only ecstasy, not a trace of fear in me. And as I followed the experience, I suddenly heard a strong voice. No! I was startled, but still not out of the experience. I again heard the voice. No! No! And as I began to become aware, I heard another voice. No! Go and show your sweet face to your family. I don't recollect anyone calling my face sweet. When that word came, I felt it was from the mother and I was very happy. But I came out and thought, what is this? On the very first day I have been pushed out. I was just entering and experiencing a deep state of samadhi and I have just been pushed out. And I thought, in Chatusshringi, when I said no, the mother understood and she gave me the Mahaprasada as a blessing. Now, in the ashram, when I was about to lose myself, the mother told me no. The consciousness of the mother is one and omnipresent. When I related this experience to Gokhleji about the voice and especially the tone, he said yes, the mother would speak this way only, and confirmed, and I was only overjoyed. When Gokhleji was asked by other sadhaks in front of me about what he thought about my experience in Pondicherry, he said, Damleji went to his Mahir, mother's home, and came. Shri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita has said, Tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, jnanibhyo matodikaha, karmebhyaschadhiko yogi, tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. In comparison to the firm ascetic, he is greater. Amongst men of knowledge and works too, he is better. He who practices yoga integrally is most superior to me. And so, a yogi is what, O Arjuna? I ask you to be. Hari Om. We will just maybe meditate for just 5 minutes or 3 minutes, and then let us begin our discussion. Two experiences which are not really contrasting. Outwardly it may appear, but that oneness, let us just focus. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. So we are having a topic today, unexplained spiritual experiences. We first saw this two experiences, one at Chatusshringi and one at Pondicherry. Yes. Can we begin our Gita talk session after, in light of this? Anybody would like to share something or what you understood or some of your thoughts for our understanding? Yes, please. Anybody? Hari Om. Juhiji is asked, what is this transcendental yoga that Damleji had mentioned? No, he had mentioned integral yoga. Integral yoga means Purna yoga, that is oneness only. So it is, I think, any yoga you follow with oneness, it will become part of integral yoga only without creating any bhed or divide. The yoga of Sri Aurobindo is called Purna yoga, which Sri Aurobindo himself says it is not something very radically different from what has been already told by our yogis and rishis. So some of very interesting. Yes, Manisha ji wants to share something, is it? Yes, Manisha ji.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.
That was Damleji's first meeting with the mother?
It was at the Samadhi, Damleji's spiritual experience. That time, mother had already taken the Samadhi.
Oh, yes, because you said it's 1982.
Yeah,
So mother had,
85.
sorry?
No, 1982, Damleji began reading about the mother.
Oh, okay. So it was 1985, is it?
Yeah. 1985 was Damleji's first visit.
So she heard mother talking to him?
Yes.
Sorry,
That
he
was
heard.
what Damleji. Yeah, he heard that
Oh,
voice and he did not hear before anywhere, and suddenly he was enjoying the laya of that samadhi which he was experiencing deep into that meditation, and suddenly he got a very strong voice. That is why he has also said he was very surprised that sweet means nobody has called him. He is very good looking, but
yeah.
nobody used that word sweet for him. So go show your sweet face to your family. And he
Yes,
did not fully understand who or what and everything. But after he went met his guru, his integral yoga guru was Gokhleji. So Gokhleji had that, he knew about it. He knew about the mother's voice, the way mother talked. And so he said, yes, this is how she talked.
yes. The explanation is so vivid. I almost forgot that mother had she
Yes,
left her body in the year 1973. So
yes,
if this is 1985, then he would not
yes,
have met the
yes,
mother
yes.
physically. but the meeting was very full of, so it was like real, as if he was
Yes.
actually meeting the mother. And so, but why did she say no?
Now, now you just see, we will look at this interesting, nice question Manisha ji has asked. Rajiv ji is saying something. After that, we'll go to Manisha ji. Yes, sir. Manisha ji has raised a good question. We will look at why did that we'll have to see later. Rajiv ji, sir, please unmute, sir.
See, in the first place, I'm extremely grateful to Sadhguru Damleji for narrating these instances to mortals like us. And, it is from the Gita, what I recall is a very famous shloka. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam ja mai pashyati, tasyaham na pranashyami, sacha
Pranashyami.
me na pranashyati. So, to a person who is in that state of
Yes.
realization, to whom everything is Brahma. So,
Yes.
Brahma is always with him, and it
Hmm.
is not at all surprising that this kind of an instance actually occurs. I have read somewhere in previously that when Nivruttinath, Naneshwar, and Sopan and Muktabai, when they
Muktabai.
went to Kashi, there
Hmm.
was a practice at that time that on a elephant, uh, uh, I mean, in the trunk of an elephant, they would give a mala. And that
Ha.
mala was the elephant would decide, on who should be chosen amongst the whole crowd. And it was
Yes.
Nivruttinath. It was
Hmm.
Nivruttinath who was chosen for doing
Ha.
the puja at that time.
Yes.
So the entire universe
Hmm.
understands
Yes.
this kind of a thing. And I mean, it's really, I'm not surprised with these instances. And it is very nice that Sadhguruji decided to share these instances because they are an immense learning and a living example of some of the shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita, which is this,
Yes,
that
sir.
I will never leave you. And so there is
Yes,
no
yes.
question about why, it is all there. Okay. So that is what
Okay.
I wanted to say.
So,
Thank you very much.
yes.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much
sir.
for this.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you, Rajivji. Yes, sir. So, Rajivji said, yes, this is the and this is beautiful shloka. Tasyaham na pranashyami. Means where is the consciousness not present and where will it not work? Where is which place or which moment can it not? And if you see, if you just look at it the way Damleji has written, he has told it just like means his friend is calling him a fool because he's going against the traditional. Normally, it is considered a special experience, a spiritual experience, but he is still not getting carried away by the spiritual experience also because for him, he's not saying that is wrong, but for him, he felt it is not required. Now the question, and as if the doubt, if there was some doubt in his mind that day when he got the Mahaprasad the same day in the evening. That also was very interesting. How the police comes and then he asks a question, have I done anything wrong? Normal person sees a police. Why is he calling me this way? I have been friends with them, but they can't talk to me in this tone. But see that
correct,
love of that person, that policeman, why did he feel the strong itcha? Means when he told that there are industrialists and there are, even spiritual people, wonderful people, they pine for getting that Mahaprasad. Why did he feel and why did he feel to go? Means there is a force, isn't it? We see about the cosmic force, the consciousness. So that is working. That consciousness only made him the
correct.
instrument to come to the Damleji and do that.
Yes,
So
exactly.
so why it happened is probably that time it was not required. Somebody else may require it, may be necessary for that person because many times when people study Bhagavad Gita, Gita is not creating divide. But many times when people study Gita, they say, no, 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 Grama Devata is lower. This is higher. Which is higher, which is lower? Who is in that consciousness to first measure the scale? Which is higher and lower? Have we reached that level of consciousness? We don't understand. No, 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 this is goddess is less. If the goddess enters inside somebody, what will happen? We know balloon can hold only this much air, isn't it? More
Correct.
air is blown into the balloon, it will burst. So where is it? Like this happens many times. So one thing which interestingly what we can understand is our viveka we should try to hold on to at all times. and be sincere and let the divine work through us. Dadami buddhi yogam tam, Krishna says, I'll give you the knowledge. Now here, Damleji had not met the mother before, but he had a strong aspiration. Somebody who has left his entire job, nobody leaves the job of an executive just like that, because when he has found a guru after he's married, he's got family, everything. He's left that and then he is now selling a product to make ends meet and practicing yoga sadhana at the same time. How difficult it is. But again, connection means he knows. His friend was saying this is wrong, but he knows inside, because maybe our magnetic compass should always be connected with the divine. That will prevent us from getting astray, because gunas we have seen, rajas, tamas, sattva. Any guna can come inside anyone, anytime, and the most of the best person can become the worst person also. Very recently, I got a very funny experience. A particular person whom I thought is going to teach me something very nice in grammar, and Sanskrit grammar is something I've never read. I am only a mechanical engineer with some side effect for Sanskrit language affinity, that's all. But I have not learned. So I thought I will learn. Suddenly, in the midnight, I do not know what happened to that person. He sent me a 9-minute audio of some force inside it, and it was very crazy. It was so funny that after 9 minutes, this person is no more the same person, and even if I want to, I cannot go to that person, because now this person is completely unconscious of what force is working inside. If I learn, I will also learn how to become unconscious only. So because of that, I had to rescue myself. These moments come. Some moments raise us, some moments lower us. Now you see Damleji's experience in the. Now we'll come to the question of Manisha ji. Now, why did the mother say no? That I cannot answer. Mother's mind, mother's thinking, mother's way of working is beyond my understanding. The Divine Mother, it is like trying to understand the entire equations of the world. I am having trouble with simple equations. I say, like best example I can say thermodynamics. That was the one subject I had very nice friends who didn't allow me to study on the previous day of the exam, and because of which I failed for the first time in thermodynamics. But when I cleared afterwards, I still felt there's no pride in clearing with top marks also, because this is only thermodynamics of a syllabus which I have been given. But the branch is so deep, we cannot understand the entire functioning of the universe, all the rules, all the equations, all the laws that are governing. So why mother said no, we do not know. But one thing, if we see from the point of view, Damleji was probably getting lost maybe into that experience. I do not know. Mother felt this is not required. This experience is not required now. So if one experience is required, that will be given to us. And if something is not required, it will be taken away from us. It is as simple as that. When we are surrendering to the divine, when we are at the feet of the divine, we cannot have preferences. We cannot have choices. माँ मुझे ये वाला अनुभव चाहिए, ये अच्छा लगता है. नहीं नहीं नहीं, मेरा मूलाधार चक्र नहीं चाहिए, और मेरा वो वाला चक्र जाना चाहिए, उसका आरपीएम इतना होना चाहिए. नो, वी कैन नॉट प्रेडिक्ट एनीथिंग. विच चक्र, what दृष्टि. Arjuna, what did he want? He wanted darshana. And somebody told him maybe, or he felt, chalo, I have to get Vishwarupa darshana. And what happened after Vishwarupa darshana? He's like, no, no, Saumya Rupa, please. So probably, Manisha ji, if we can look at that question, maybe that was not required. So the mother said no. Isn't that a sufficient reason we can think of, Manisha ji?
Oh, yes, maybe. Yeah, correct.
Because now, like it is said, Swami Vivekananda was very awakened, and when his guru touched his head,
Hmm.
suddenly, now that was one diksha which he got, and sudden awakening of consciousness took place. His guru realized this is dangerous. He touched his head again and turned it off. Are you aware of that, Manisha ji?
Yes, ji.
Yes.
I know the incident. He,
Eh,
Sri Ramakrishna Dev touched his head, and then he could see all the celestial bodies, the galaxy, the planetary system, and he saw the Vishwa, all Charachar, everything.
Oh, yes, yes. So what we can say is, imagine if Swami Vivekananda recognizes and realizes, yes, I am Saptarushi. I am one of the Saptarushis. Then he will not say, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. I have already reached the goal, isn't it?
Yes.
So it had to be. So sometimes in our life, now we are coming closer to our topic of today's discussion is unexplained spiritual experiences. Well, again, explanation can be given according to our logic, according to our understanding, according to our mind. But my mind can understand only this much, and world is this much. So what explanation can I get for the entire world? Maybe to my mind I can say, चलो ठीक है इतना ये समझ में आता है, but that's not enough. Why they say अचिंत्यम, अव्यवहार्यम. That is what is the satyam. That is the satya. That is the Brahma. That is the supreme, what we can say, truth of the Brahman in the Vedanta, in the Upanishads, which is unexplained only. But in the unexplained experiences also, we must not lose our viveka because that is our guide. It is our guide because at least means it is like this is the one thing that is in our hand which we can use to rise. Mind is a helper when it can allow us. Atmaiva Repuratmana also is it can when it prevents us from growing. So maybe just like different, like Damleji said, you can receive from the atmosphere. In the story, it is if you are conscious, when we say consciousness is omnipresent, when we say that consciousness is there in all living beings, in all living entities, then why do we find it unbelievable that how did Swami Vivekananda suddenly receive and why is there a switch he can turn off Guru? Why we say Guru Paramatma Pareshwar? The Guru Tattva is there, Guru consciousness is there. It can work anywhere, anytime, any moment, any second. Transformation can also be possible. But these experiences are to be taken. That is the real thing. The experiences have to be experienced actually by the individual. Reading will not give us the experience. Tukaram Maharaj had very nicely said, Khadile asa godi, dekhile asa nahi. Like imagine we say, let us all, now summer is here. I am going to share you one wonderful mango which grows in Pondicherry. I am going to be eating and saying it's very tasty and very sweet. Will anybody else experience the taste, sweetness? No, it will be like I'm teasing you. So that has to be taken. And the only way we can take is by seeking the direction of Guru, seeking the direction of the divine. And who will receive? Only one who is seeking. Otherwise, without seeking, we cannot. Guru bina gyana kahan se pau? It is so simple as that. So the realization should be there. Vacuum is created, then there is an influx, isn't it? If vacuum is not created, it is like, chalo, I know, I have. Then we'll hear no only. We will not get anything when we say I know. That is the problem. So with this, though this is a very interesting experience, if anybody wants to just reanalyze or look at something, we can look at that, or we could take our discussion ahead. Because I think Rajivji gave a very beautiful shloka which integrated everything. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati. So that really removed any possible bhed which is there. Yes, sir. Rajivji is saying something. Yes, sir.
There is another thing which is which I wanted to share, like Samatvam Yoga Uchyate is a very famous quote from the. Now,
Yes,
what is this Samatva? What is this Samatva? The Samatva is the same thing. That is, if you are able to see uniformly at that entity, which is Brahma, and nothing else apart from that. Samam Pashyanhi Sarvatra. Samam Tishtatam Parmeshwaram. That means that Parmeshwara himself resides in the Samatva. And that Samatva is something which is very similar to Aham Brahmasmi. Now, even in the statement Aham Brahmasmi, the Aham is actually that Aham which we experience in the state of deep sleep, which is Sushupti, which is where we don't experience the I at all.
Yes.
So this is the so I mean I think that Sadguru Damleji, in that state of samadhi, which is actually nothing but a complete experience of seeing Brahma everywhere, in everything, in all. When you get into that state, that is what we should long for actually. When we say that we have to raise our consciousness to the highest point, it is that. And
To
then, of
Samadhi
course,
state. But in Samadhi state, he was told, no, you have to do work. So
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
maybe
that is
we
right.
should
See,
not
yeah,
we should not
actually, even
aspire also, probably let the God give what experience he has to give.
correct.
Even
Even while
even
you
that
are working,
aspiration for Samadhi, you give it to
no,
me.
correct. That, I mean, we have to be working. That is what the Gita is about.
Yes, yes,
I mean,
yes,
we
sir.
do not have to get into a state of
Non-works.
of
Maybe
non
the
performance. But
samatha can come.
while we
Yes,
are
sir.
performing, what should be? I mean, karma itself is basically defined in a manner that bhuta bhavot bhava karo. That
Hmm.
means the jad and chetan, both bhuta bhava bhavat karo. That means you are raising both the bhut as well as the chetan. An act of sacrifice, which is actually doing that, is karma.
Yes.
So that is what we are supposed to be doing all the time. And in order to
Yes.
do that properly, if you are in this state of samatvam, then of course,
Okay.
yoga karma su kaushalam is actually
Yes.
that you
Yoga,
can perform
karmas.
like nobody else can.
So, sir,
So
can we now we can see samatvam yoga uchyate, yoga karmasu kaushalam. The same samatha is there in the Rigveda also. Some gachadvam, some vadadvam.
exactly.
They
I
are
have not
talking.
read the I mean
No,
the
no, no. I
Vedas
have
much,
also not
but
read. Some of the
but
suktas are
basically, I
connected.
mean, this is the meaning which is coming into me, that
Yes, sir.
this samatvam is not
But
just
my
equality or a sense of equality, a rough sense of equality, but it is actually coming through uniformity that you see.
my question, sir, is that now it is a recent experience that I got. I really wanted a teacher in this faculty which I wanted, and so it was my ichha, which was, I do not know whether it was required or not required. Divine Mother will decide. But I saw it in one person whom I felt was initially this person was talking about being oneness and Brahma, so many Brahma Vidya. I mean, best of the best persons ever. I would have felt ki chalo, this is the right person. I was even thankful ki I got introduced to him. And the same person at night at 11:30, I do not know what happened, and he sent on making weird sounds, weird statements, wrong meanings, complete distortion. And now when we say samatha, means there is a nirdvandva, isn't it? In the samatha, that
Correct,
division is not there. And the
correct.
problem of the Gita is itself a dvandva only. The battle is there, material and spiritual. One is Vyavaharik Satya and Vastavik Satya, they look different. What is the ultimate truth of spiritual? It
Actually,
is like,
actually, the beauty of the whole thing is when,
yes.
I mean, ekatva is Ishwaratva. Ekatva
Um,
is
yes, sir.
Ishwaratva.
Means
And
Aham
Nanatva,
Brahmasmi. My question,
yeah,
sir, is Aham Brahmasmi looks very nice because we say this is that Aham which is not our Aham. It is
yes.
that Aham. So it is very good.
Actually, it actually helps you in order to kill the hum by saying
No,
that
but
everything that
what
is there is that.
now isn't that if we recognize that the small Aham is also a distilled shadow or something of that supreme Aham that
See,
can become
actually, the
our
thing is,
Sopan.
the way I'm looking at duality, I mean, basically, when one goes to sleep completely, okay, and
Yeah.
in deep sleep, what happens is basically there is no duality of any kind. We do not,
Okay.
I mean, our experiences universally of any person in deep sleep are always the same. Nobody gets a different experience. The differentiation starts when we get into the other two states. The moment we get into the state of awakening, okay, we get a realization of our own self being different from the others. And we get into this world of Dvaita. Okay, so
Yes,
that
sir.
is the state where
Yes, sir. But now when we are talking about reconciliation, for example, now we are talking about experiences of which are, means why we are looking at unexplained is because we don't want them to remain unexplained. We want a way to somewhere experience it or find a direct understanding, if we just look at our own anubhav, how do we integrate our life anubhavs? Or is there any moment which we feel is unexplainable right now? If anybody wishes to discuss, we could look at some experience which is unexplained, and then probably we could find a meaning inside. Any
Yeah, sure.
phenomenon which is unexplained because we want very much connected to our everyday moments of life itself. If we can try to connect, it becomes much more interesting. So anybody can just think of, if we can just an unexplained experience, why a question why which has not been answered. Maybe we could look at that. Why did this happen to, or this sometimes even Adhyatmik Anubhav. We saw Damleji's two extremely opposite Anubhavs. It created a why. Immediately Manishaji asked that question, which was right. Why did this happen? And so we looked at it. So something like that. Is there any particular experience or any particular thought which is there, which can be looked at? Because we are all that way we are like friends working on the Gita, trying to understand the Gita, trying whatever little we understand, we are sharing with each other. So is there some question, somebody's question, which can become everybody's question, and then it can also become everybody's answer? Anybody? Juhiji had put some questions in the group, in the chat. Would you want to share the questions also in through your orally also? It will be easier. Because that is the entire objective as well. Something which,
Yeah, so
yeah,
we actually talked about integral or
integral.
integration yoga.
Yeah, integral. It is a name.
Yeah,
Purna
integral
Yoga.
yoga.
Integral. Yeah.
Yeah, integral yoga, अर्थात पूर्ण yoga, that even
Okay.
Swami Aurobindo and even
Sri
Damleji is
Arvind. Yeah.
following.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, what I wanted to know was that, uh, like, what is this integral yoga? Yeah, though you told us a little bit about it, but maybe we can discuss more if possible. And who gives it? Like, how can one learn it? Can it only be
Okay.
learned via a
Okay. Who
guru?
gives? This is
Or
the interesting part. Okay. Who gives it in the sense you mean like Diksha?
yeah, like a diksha, but diksha will only come once a person finds the guru. Till we don't find a guru, can't we meditate on our own? I think that's possible. And
Um,
if I want to do a basics even without a guru, how can I do it? If possible.
without a guru, it is like I want to use my remote without a battery. That will not be possible, surely. Means I have got the best system, best LED screen, and I have decided today this is the movie I am going to watch and enjoy. But battery is not there. I will not do it. So without guru, we cannot. But the guru means, can you not see Guru Tattva then, Johiji? Because if we focus only on ourselves, we will have there's a very strange thing called auto suggestion that people do. We reinforce our own thoughts because mind attaches to its own understanding only. It will not move outside its understanding. Guru's job is to take the mind and throw it onto the wall. So just, shake and completely, pull out of that consciousness to a consciousness which you have not experienced, a different world. So, means relying only on self, that may not give an answer, but keeping. Yes, Johiji is saying something? Yes?
No, I'm not.
Hello? Sorry?
Hello?
No, no. Okay, it was
Uh,
somebody else. Yeah. So, relying completely on one's self is a little bit of like a double-edged sword. We need to have self-confidence, yes. But somewhere recognizing that, chalo, I am not fully capable of myself, or I have my limitations, or I need, like now when you learn something from a new branch, a new science, what do? A new subject, you go to the Kshetrajna, isn't it? And at that time, you will recognize the Kshetrajna as your guru. And Krishna says that is the flow of wisdom which takes place. Bhagavad Gita, 13th Adhyay. He starts Idam Shariram Kaunteya. Recognize your body. Sometimes if you recognize your body very well, you will educate your Kshetrajna doctor also. Because your body you have understood so well, you have got the Krishna has given you that knowledge and you have become your own Shishya and learned. That way it is possible. But no, number one, Joji, because that is one danger. Because when we reinforce ourselves completely with our own thoughts, with our own understanding, our own logic, that is where a problem happens because the there is a world which is beyond our logic, which is beyond our understanding, and we have to rise to understand that. So that is number one. When we say, that is why every time when we do a Gita study also, what do we do? Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Or we just focus on that tattva of Guru. We focus on Krishna. And Krishna said, don't call me Krishna also, I don't mind. Call me any other name. Rudranam, Shankarash Chasmi also is fine. Or you call him a Krishna also, he will not feel bad. Your Shraddha Mayoya Purusha. But for that, Shraddha is required, and for Shraddha, you need a Shraddha Sthana, and for Shraddha Sthana, you need Guru. Means now Manisha ji just asked a question and she also answered very well. That see, mother was not physically present. She has taken Samadhi. But in consciousness, people are experiencing, isn't it? Children experience. I remember my mother's words. And then, array, yes, yes, those mother's words came in handy now. But she didn't tell it to me that time, particularly when I needed it. Something I was told long back before. That comes into our smriti. It comes into our understanding also. Means when you receive from conscious, you can receive from, means that was one more beautiful experience. Damleji went. He came to, like he's quite a senior person. He doesn't have to behave like a child who does not know or he doesn't. But when he is going to receive, means Damleji's guru, you see how Damleji said in the story actually. He said, लगता है उनको लगा कि बच्चा अब तैयार हो गया. Now, interesting is Damleji calling me bacha is very understandable. Age gap is there. But Damleji's guru and his was a very not such a big age gap. There was very little age gap. And yet, that state of mind, I mean, childlike mind is very, what we can say, conducive to receiving wisdom. Become a child. Whose child? Krishna's child. Become a child of Krishna. Krishna will guide. Sri Aurobindo has also talked about ideal guru is like one child leading other children. So child does not know everything, isn't it? So there's no ahankara also. I can't say I don't know I know everything and then I get trapped in ahankara of knowing. So something like that. So this is number one. Second is if you find a Shraddha Sthana, your start is taken place. Search is also complete and that is also the culmination also. Shraddha Sthana, which is atal, which is not going to shake, which is not going to break, which is not going to move. That will become the source of your strength. Look at best example of Ekalavya. His Shraddha Sthana is Dronacharya. Dronacharya's statue is a greater Shraddha Sthana than Dronacharya himself. Because Ekalavya learned from the statue when Dronacharya didn't want to teach him also. So this is entirely the aspect of reception is possible anywhere, anytime, any place, but the receiver must be ready to receive. And so that is one thing. And integral yoga you can probably read, but more than reading, it is about living. And in that, there are so many things like sincerity, honesty, simplicity. If you just see the symbol of mother only, there are petals. Each petal is denoting a particular quality. So if you start cultivating the qualities, you're going to understand that. How do I still understand integral yoga? Read Bhagavad Gita, you will understand the same thing. It is the foundation only. Qualities, we have seen qualities also are smriti, medha, dhruti, shama. All of these are what? These are qualities. Devi is also manifesting as qualities only. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu, Shakti Ropena, Sansita, Buddhi Ropena, Sansita, Krishna Ropena. So many such ways. So probably, Juheji, maybe you can start reading. But while reading, we must ensure that mind only should not go, because intellectually people get carried away also. That is the biggest danger. Like I told you, this person is very conscious of when I waited for 7 days, and yeah, 9 days I waited for this person who sent me weird audios. When I asked him, I sent a message, I am disappointed to receive it. He transformed. He is so brilliant. He transformed the Gita shloka and he advised as if I am Arjuna and he is Krishna and Ma Shucha. He was explaining to me. That time also I was quietly listening. ठीक है, ठीक है. Then he introduced me to somebody. That person said he wants to meet my guru. I was very hesitant because he has introduced me to that person. I was not sure if I will introduce him. And then he told a beautiful line. He said, मुझसे मिलके आपके गुरु को भी गति मिलेगी. उनकी साधना आगे जाएगी. I was like, oh my God, you are very great. Too great that I will not come to you again. So, but what has happened to, why has such a person who is supposedly very intelligent? Because Buddhi has gone in a wrong direction. So, reading, yes, read little bit, practice more. Krishna 12th Adhyay says, dearest devotee is that person who is practicing the principle. If I am saying I am having no ahankar, this is okay to say in front of everybody. Nobody is watching. Somebody comes and tells something, I don't like it, and the reaction, if ahankar is there, it is gone. So if you are looking for actually Juhiji, you can just read some small books instead of the entire text. There is the book called The Mother, which you can just read that, a small booklet you can try to identify. Or to understand what integral yoga is, it is like that. And it is actually the truth which will get manifested as you understand and once your sadhana goes ahead. So start reading. There is something called scriptural reading is one part of your life. Gita tells, no, yajna, dana, tapa, swadhyaya, all has to be done. So dana means now you are a student. You cannot take money from somebody or be Robin Hood, take money from this person, give it to some other deserving. No. But what dana? You can do Shrama dana, you can do Vidya dana. Definitely. So dana is looked at. What yajna are you doing? See that what sacrifice. Again, quality of sacrifice you can understand, isn't it? I have 10 shirts. I give away one shirt. Not a sacrifice. I have one shirt and my friend is shivering. Then time I tell take this shirt. That becomes real sacrifice. So yajna, dana, tapa. What tapa are you doing? Some tapashcharya must be done. Something like that. So probably if you just means basically what is integration, Juhiji?
I only understood two or three things. First, that like even if I wanna be a shishya of a guru, before I become a shishya, I need to be qualified enough. I think there was somewhere it was mentioned in
Hmm.
somewhere, I don't know. So for that, I
Okay.
can always develop qualities. You mentioned there are
Yes.
dan, tapa, yagna, and stuff. So for me, integral might be that I see Krishna in everyone, and whatever is happening around me, it better not be affecting myself, my viveka. So maybe I
Yes,
can
Ji.
work on those. And you also may also mention swadhyay. So
Hmm.
I can always
Reading.
start reading some more stuff, but I
Yes, yes.
better like but apart
Do you
from
have the
only
habit of
reading,
notes? Juhiji, do
I
you have the habit of notes?
notes doesn't.
Taking notes?
Yeah, I do have.
So maybe read less, take more notes, and then you do your own dissection of the notes only, what you have taken.
Okay,
That
okay,
would
yeah.
you are you in Europe?
I am.
Yes, you are in Europe. So somebody else was there in Europe. She did not know who Krishna was, but she kept getting guidance of someone she called Krishna. And
Uh,
yeah, I think Arvindji understood who I'm talking about. Arvindji, you would like to share? It'll be much better if you guessed it. Actually, I have not. I have told in a very vague manner. Yes, sir.
It is the
Yes,
mother only.
yes, yes. The mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. She was
Mhm.
not introduced to Indian, ideologies or Indian religious, traditions. Nothing. She had not understood all of it. But she got one direction in, like we say, no, different. Ye log, I do not know. They are all higher plane, we can say. Some beings are born with a higher plane of consciousness. So she was receiving some guidance. She called that being Krishna, and she didn't know who that was. When she came to Pondicherry, she saw it was Sri Aurobindo, and then she was like, "This is." I was calling him Krishna. So guidance can come in any form for who wants to, but discipline is required, self-discipline. That is definitely. So, and
So there is one more question about it then, because
okay,
in many of the cases I have read that
cases.
like cases, yeah, I can say that cases as in like even in psychology we say that if we are seeking guidance and stuff, there can be illusion, and illusion happens a lot with the brains, right? Then how will I
Okay.
be able to, or how can one figure out whether it's an illusion or I'm getting a proper guidance? Because I think you have also mentioned it sometime. I don't remember, but
Ah,
yeah.
yes, yes. So there is something once one Sri Aurobindo very nicely said to sadhaks, because you have to surrender to the divine. So surrender your mind to understand what is beyond the mind. So everybody started behaving in certain way that Sri Aurobindo had to say, I have asked them to surrender their mind, not their common sense. So common sense will remain with us. It will be our compass, isn't it? Means now you see, for example, look at Damleji's experience. It's a very, I mean, I'm actually going to try to get permission from sir and write it down, all of these, because these it means because it's a practical experience, no? You can actually, I am looking at one thing in one way, it will relate to me from my life experience in one manner. You look at it, like you are having now psychology background. You will see in a different way. So now you just see that he was experiencing something which is not an illusion. Somebody who does not understand may classify it as an illusion, or somebody may put it. But you see, he said, I'm losing my awareness. I'm losing my awareness, or that is the base of my sadhana. He said, that is the foundation. Is my sadhana making me grow? Like, there is a very nice question. How do I know if I am going ahead on the path of sadhana? Do we have a pedometer? These many steps taken forward. इतने किलोमीटर आगे चले गए, या पेट्रोल कम हो गया तो पता चल जाएगा इतना आगे चले गए. साधना में तो व्हाट इज इट? वेल, इट इज ब्यूटिफुल. व्यक्तित्व का विकास. When your personality is blossoming, you are developing, you are becoming better person. That is a sure shot indicator. And you have to only observe, am I becoming a better person or am I becoming a worse person? If you see you are becoming bad, it is also a great thing that you are able to see it and you will be able to course correct. So as far as illusions are concerned, Joyji, we stick with our common sense. We will stand by our common sense, definitely. We will stand by being aware, but we will also teach our common sense that yes, my senses are limited. My indriyas are limited. I cannot see infrared. I cannot see ultraviolet, but that does not existing. I cannot say like that, isn't? A discipline is required. If you can have a discipline, a daily discipline, some time for body. Damleji says, I'll just tell last and we'll probably will go into another question or we can then conclude. Damleji says the four dimensions of a person has man, pran, sharir and buddhi. All four are to be taken care of. If one of these four is not taken care of, there is an imbalance. That imbalance will manifest in the sadhana also, in the person's life and quality of life also. So for the mind, are you giving enough food for your mind? Are you troubling your mind? Are you listening some nice, maybe nice songs that your mind enjoys? Giving your mind good thoughts? Are you giving your mind some good reinforcement of positive thoughts also, we can say? I have not achieved this. My life is a miserable waste. This is happening in my life. This person is sick. That only negative thoughts or good thoughts. So mind, what are you feeding your mind? So that is one. First is keeping your mind happy. There is a saint in Maharashtra. He starts with all satsanga with mana karare prasanna. Keep your mind happy. How simple is that? So that is one. Man, sharir, body. Am I reading about great adhyatmic scriptures? but ignoring my physical body. If I am going against Krishna also. And how will I sustain my life journey if I don't take care of my body? So man, sharir, prana, the movement of the prana vayu inside of our body, right from our breathing, all of it can be looked at, can become conscious. How am I? What am I doing? And buddhi. Buddhi also is required. So as a student, as a researcher, your intelligence, is it getting something? Is it getting growth? This will generally, when you do all, we just, if you want from a direct output, these four things you can look at, Joyji.
Dhanyavad, that will help me out.
That was helpful. All right, chalo. Yes. So maybe if anybody wants to look at something, or today actually the unexplained spiritual experiences were only, after that we were not having questions only about
Because
unexplained
it is
phenomena.
something now that we have, I mean, not many would have experienced
And we have seen it.
we have just vaguely heard from or somebody had it. Or
Yes.
it was never a first time with the people close by. So maybe that's
So now
why.
Damleji has given his, it is like we have also seen it and we have also experienced
And
it.
it was so nice to hear his experience because
Ji.
it gives a context that yes, it is not everything it's not always about the practicality of the lives, but there is everything beyond that also that we have
Yes.
to look so that we have a balance.
Ji. All right, then I think with this we'll probably conclude. If we have to just draw an inference, yes, all of this is definitely, there are unexplained phenomena, but one thing has been explained in our Shastra, Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. So we surrender to Krishna. He will take us. He will take us which way he has to. We cannot say like Arjuna, take me to the center of the battlefield. I'm so confident. I know I'm going to fight. And then what happens to Arjuna? Instead, we could have just Krishna lead the way from the first to the last. It would have been easy. So probably let us allow the divine to lead us. Many times divine is leading us and we are not conscious only. So we'll have to listen to the divine. And all right, with this I'll conclude with the Shanti mantra. If somebody wants to share something, that is also welcome. All right. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyid dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishna Mante Jagat Guru. Jai Shri Krishna
Hari
Ji.
Om.
Hari Om.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Namaskaram.
Jai Shri
Hari
Krishna.
Om. Hari Om.
Thank you, sir,
Thank you, Ji. Hare Krishna
very
Ji.
much. Hari Om Sushruti.
Hari Om
Thank you
Ji.
so much for
Namaskaram.
the amazing session.
Thank you, Ji. Hare Krishna.
Hari Om.
Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Om.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Om.
Hari Om.